Hey everyone, and welcome to the results video for the second round of the 2025 Joker Cup. Now, if you're not familiar with the Joker Cup, in the Joker Cup all players are divided into groups. All the players in each group compete against each other, and each group gets a separate ride that they have to build with a random theme, and also they get 2 random modifiers, which make the game definitely a bit more interesting. Anyway, I will go through all the entries for each group. There's 4 groups remaining, each with 4 players. And I'll start with the 4th and 3rd place for every group. And then the 2nd and 1st place for every group will make it to the finals, where 8 players will battle against each other. Anyway, let's start with the players for Group I. Okay, in Group I, all the players had to create a mini suspended coaster in a toxic radioactive theme. They could only use expansion scenery from Wacky Worlds and Time Twister, and the ride is not allowed to have any visible supports. Now in 4th place we have the entry from Banana Fanat. He had a funny story about how the location of Earth was completely forgotten, since it was abandoned, since it got very radioactive and toxic. And at some point some guy found Earth again. And there were talks about there still being an underground society, which you can actually see here. The underground society apparently has mini suspended coasters. But the guy died of radiation poisoning before he could tell anyone about it. So it took a little bit longer for the underground society to be discovered again. But yeah, I think it's... the scrolling doesn't work properly apparently here. Anyway, we have... a nice little mini suspended coaster here that uses the vehicles from one of the expansions. They're kind of weird vehicles, but I guess it works in this theme. Looks like this society also has grass underground and a nice little building here. And I also like how the actual surface of the Earth actually does look very radioactive. But yeah, quite a nice entry from Banana Fanat. Alright, then in 3rd place we have the entry from Daurson, and Daurson, I believe he just quickly slapped something together using these pieces from the expansions. Also a bit of track texture. I think these pipes and all the stuff here works pretty well. And of course there's also a mini suspended coaster, of course without any visible supports, since that was not allowed in this round. I really like the rock work here using these crater walls. That works pretty well. I do think the waterfall here looks a bit weird. Of course, it's quite difficult to make a nice waterfall if you're only allowed to use scenery from the expansions. But I'm not sure this is the best solution there is. But yeah, I do quite like the industrial feel of the entry. But yeah, other than that, I saw some complaints in the comments that the entry looked a bit bland. It looks like it was just smacked together without much thought. But I do think it looks pretty nice. Alright, then we get to the 2nd place of the group. This entry was made by Madazalk. So Madazalk, since he's in 2nd place, makes it to the finals. Now this entry is based on the Fallout universe, one of my favorite series of games. And what you see here flying around is actually one of those iBots. So the story, I believe, was something that... some of the surviving people in this universe, they found an iBot and they thought it would be fun to climb on it and fly around in it. I think that's a nice usage for the mini suspended coaster. There's actually not any track visible, but that didn't really matter to the people who voted, since it got quite a high score. Now I think Madazalk did a really nice job with the available scenery, but also the ground texturing. Looks like a palette is used to make the sand more more pinkish. I think that works really well. I also really like how the road was made here. And I think this is just great usage of the expansion scenery objects. Really nice work. Alright, and then we get to the winner of Group I, which is actually my entry. I spent quite a bit of time on this. The entry is really tall. The story is something about this being a big underground facility, and there's containment failure, and lots of stuff is breaking down, exploding. So the people have to evacuate. And there's this evacuation system, which can only have 2 riders for some reason. And yeah, while the vehicle is going up, you can see lots of stuff exploding around the vehicles. And you can also see these pipes starting to leak radioactive muck. Here's another pipe, and as soon as the vehicle gets close, this one will also start pouring radioactive stuff down. Yeah, I was really happy with the entry. I also included lots of staff scenes, also with funny little names. Example this one. I can't swim, thankfully. This box full of heavy tools also doubles as a flotation device. Well, yeah, there's many more of these funny little staff names. Just when I thought my day couldn't get any worse. I'm not gonna go over all of them. If you want to see them, you can download all these entries from my website. You can find a link in the video description. And yeah, be sure to take a look at these entries for yourself. Some of them are really funny. Alright, then we get to Group J. In Group J, all the players had to create a helicopter ride. It had to be a video game reference. The players could only use 10 different scenery objects. And the ride must have a water splash section. Quite a challenging set of objectives for the players. But of course they all did the best with what they had available to them. Now here's the entry from Scoop. And Scoop, I believe, made a reference to Tomb Raider. Here you can see Lara Croft. I do believe the actual main the main person in Tomb Raider is called Lara Croft. So maybe this was a typo, or maybe this is a reference to the adult actress Lara Croft. Not sure. Not that I know anything about that. Anyway, yeah, one thing that stood out in this entry a bit was that if we count the different scenery objects, we can count 11 here, while only 10 were allowed to be used. So quite a few people deducted a few points from the score for this entry. So that's most likely why we find it in 4th place. Yeah, here we can see this large stairway down here. You can see Lara Croft. And there's also this helicopter which travels around here. And at some point you can find it splashing down here into the water. Yeah, I think the entry looks great. I think it's really nicely decorated. But yeah, it's a bit sad that Scoop was not able to count properly. Alright, then we get to 3rd place of Group J. This one was made by SolX. And SolX decided to use the game SimCity 2000 as the video game reference. So here you can see a city that's being built. I really like how SolX used these Art Deco stalls as these futuristic buildings. Also the ATM kind of looks like maybe like a bank, or it just says commercial building. I think that works really well. Also love these power lines. It's probably a power plant. Oh, this is actually the airport. That makes sense. You can also see these power lines. This must be the power plant then. The harbor. And what you have going on here is a big fire. And I believe these are some markers or beacons that you place to get the firefighters to go there. And the firefighting team consists of these helicopters. And when they get here, you can actually see them splash down into the water. Most likely to collect water to rain down on the fire. Here we go down. And yeah, you can also see this invisible splash boats vehicle coming here when the helicopters touch on the water, just to make this water splash. So that's quite nicely done. You can see it again. So that's a really nice trick. Yeah, I think SolX did a really nice job on this. Yeah, maybe if there were a few more buildings, just to get more of that SimCity feel, and maybe it would have scored a little bit better. But still, I think this is a really nice effort. Alright, then in 2nd place in Group J, we have Low Poly's entry. So Low Poly makes it onto the finals. And Low Poly actually decided to create a Mario scene here. So here you can, yeah, this of course reference to Super Mario Bros. And you can see this yellow or this red helicopter here, which is named Mario. Actually also splashes down in the water here. And here we can see 73 fucking drowning. But yeah, I think it's really cool how Low Poly made this recognizable Mario scene. This ride is not named, but I assume this is a Goomba. But yeah, I think it looks really cool, really recognizable. There's a one-up mushroom hidden behind here as well. Yeah, I really like this entry from Low Poly. Very recognizable, very well done. Alright, and finally, here's the winner of Group J. Here's the entry from Wes. And Wes, I believe the video game he made a reference to is Microsoft Flight Simulator. And here you can actually see one of these helicopters. And it has a bucket below it. So this is another one of these firefighting helicopters. Now, I really like how Wes did this. It just looks so fun with seeing these vehicles. And here they exit the map, probably to fight an actual fire. I also really like this helicopter that Wes put here. Also pretty cool, one of these cargo helicopters. Here's the little heli field. Looks like the new guests are getting in now, or the other firefighting shift. Not really sure what these fences are all about. Maybe this is a mistake. I have no idea. I do think it looks a little bit weird. I also like this antenna. We can also see some text here in the background. And I believe a lot of this background scenery here is also actually just signs. And yeah, I think that's really creative. And of course, that's another way to get around the limit of just 10 different scenery objects. Because you can do a lot with these signs if you're creative. Alright, then we get to Group K. In Group K, all the players had to build a horse ride. And the theme was a shark theme. The ride must have at least one vertical track piece. And the trains must be reversed. Yeah, quite an interesting set of modifiers for this ride and theme. But yeah, all these players did an incredible job. The scores in this group were very high, which just goes to show how incredible these players all did. It is, as an example, here's the 4th place for this group. This one's made by Levels, and his score is higher than every contestant's score in Group J, for example. But yeah, sadly Levels will not make it to the finals since he got 4th place in the group. That's just how the game is. But yeah, when we opened the entry, we could see some horses get sucked into this tornado. I think Levels did an incredible job creating this this tornado here. I think it looks really good. Of course, also these sharks flying around in it. It was fun also seeing these horses get sucked up. Lots of chaos here. We can also see some entertainers. Here's Timmy Tuna drowning. You can see Super Normal hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, I think this is a really cool entry here. You can also see these horses flying around. And somehow they actually go in the opposite direction as the wind. Alright, then here we have the entry from Supra Normal. He got 3rd place in the group. I thought this entry was really good. It was actually one of my favorites. So I'm a bit sad to not see it go to the finals. But yeah, here we could see a horse being lifted up into the air by a helicopter. I believe it's a reference to a meme image. And while it was flying up, actually a shark jumped up and it took the helicopter and the horse out of the sky. Yeah, I thought this was a brilliant entry. I also really like how this entry is decorated. I think the scenery here just looks super nice. Yeah, I think this is amazingly done. So I'm a bit sad to not see it go on to the finals. Also, this decoration here is just incredible. And it really made me laugh. You can also see some of the meme text, horse escape, bottom text. Yeah. I think it's very nicely done. Really some of Super Normal's best work. Alright, then in 2nd place in the group, we have the entry from In Error Predicting a Fault. He made this really cool looking temple. And yeah, there's just so much chaos happening in here. So here you can see these horses, of course, traveling in reverse, because that was one of the modifiers. And they travel through this temple where just lots of gory stuff is happening. You can see a shark here around these human statues, and at the location where the arms were supposed to be, you can see these red streams. It's just so nicely done. You can see lots of different obstacles in this course. You can see the rotating bridge of certain doom. Also with lots of these waterfalls, more sharks flying around. See all these cogwheels with more of these red streams. You can also see some of these sharks just traveling forwards and backwards a bit, just to ambush the horses here. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff going on here. And yeah, I think this is a brilliant entry from In Error Predicting a Vault. It just looks super nice as well. A bit repetitive maybe, but yeah, all the fun scenes just really add up to something nice here. Alright, and here we have the winner of Group K. This is the entry from Timmy Tuner. And here you can see once again the player. I believe this is a sequel to the to his previous entry in round 1. And the player is moving backwards here with his horse and traveling through this temple. Oh, I really like this scene. And this shark actually popped out of this mural, and then it flies around here. And yeah, this the player and his horse just travel upwards through the temple. They just climb up, and here they I'm not sure what happens here. It looks like the sharks are now giving chase to the horse. Yeah, this is just a really well done. Looks like Timmy Tuner used mostly expansion scenery here, but it's done in a really nice way. I love the way that this temple was created, and yeah, once again there's a bit of a story in this entry. And here we can see the player and his horse have almost reached the top here, and here they will fade out of view. But yeah, just wonderful work from Timmy Tuner, really well done. Alright, and here we have the final group. Here's Group L. And Group L, all the players had to create a ghost train. They had to build it in a sewer theme. And a ride has to crash after you open the map. And the ride must have at least 3 tunnels. Now here we have the entry from FlickSpy. When we opened the entry, we could immediately see an explosion. And the story was something like help the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles escape whatever this explosion was. Let's quickly open it again. So yeah, here we can see the explosion, boom. Here you can see this ghost train travel through the sewers. And there's a few of these pipe pieces used as manhole covers here. Here you can see the ghost train. And they're colored in the same color as the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I quite like how the city is created here. I really like how these buildings are done here. But when the ghost train reaches here, yeah, it kind of ends, since the vehicles just return backwards. Yeah, and you cannot really see them anymore. You can just see them clip in and out of buildings at some points. And then we can see these guests walk through these buildings here. Yeah, I think it's really nicely done from this angle, but probably could have been refined a bit more. It's kind of weird seeing the guests just phase through these buildings here. But yeah, overall it looks really nice. Alright, and then in the third place in Group L, we have the entry from Onda23. Now this goes, you can actually see this really calming scene here. Yeah, there was this nice pond with all these ducks and all the nice foliage here. And then you see these 3 pipes from Mr. Bones Inc. And at some point the ghost train comes out and it's just complete carnage here. Yeah, I think the foliage all looks incredible. I will quickly reload this. And let's just pause it and take a look at all the beautiful scenery here. Yeah, it just looks so nice, also with all the lily pads and the trees. Also the little boats here. I have a nice little hut, giant butterfly, and all just looks really beautiful, except this industrial part, of course. You can already see the ghost train vehicles arrive here. And yeah, then it's just complete chaos here. Yeah, I think it's really cool what Under 23 did here. It's just a really funny entry. And yeah, sad to see him not make it to the finals, but that's just how the game is. So let's go check out who made it to the finals in Group L. Alright, in second place in this group, we have the entry from Hobion. And immediately starts off with a ride called Explosive Diarrhea, just crashing here. It looks like this part is underground, some sewer pipes here. And we can see this ghost train traveling through this landscape here. Lots of different pipes going everywhere. Lots of streams of green water coming from everywhere. You can also see this green water here at the bottom. And yeah, it's just funny to see this ghost train travel through this entire entry. So yeah, lots of stuff happening here, lots of different layers to this entry. It's kind of difficult to see everything here. When we're a bit zoomed in, I can't move any further. I believe when you make an entry like this, there's always one angle from which you can see a bit further from this angle. So when you make a entry like this, that's mostly supposed to be viewed from one angle. Probably best to choose the angle, which allows you to zoom up, scroll up more. It's also what I did in my entry. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. I love the colors in this entry. The green color for the track, I think it works really well. And I think the ride layout is also pretty good. And yeah, it's also really nicely decorated. Alright, and then here we have the winner of Group L. This one is made by Max Arceus. And yeah, he loves playing Oblivion, or the Oblivion remaster. So he recreated some buildings from the game. And here we follow some important people or characters from the game as they travel through the sewers. You can actually select them. This is the hero of Kvatch, so that's probably the player. And this is Martin Septon. But yeah, here they travel through the sewers. Lots of different scenes to be seen here. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Here we can see some sewer rats. We'll move forwards and backwards. It's a little campfire. We can also see a ghost. And then finally here we arrive at the back part of the sewers. There's also a big skeleton here. Here's some more ghosts. Also a mud crab in the form of a turtle. And then here a fireball gets flung at the player and then the ride crashes. But yeah, I really like how Max did some of these scenes, like these ghosts here. He used these dragon train vehicles for it. I think they actually work really well as ghosts. Also, you can see him use this skeleton as a skeleton. Also, we can see some smoke with some interesting colors here. Probably because of the palette that was used. You can also see one of these Oblivion gates here. Yeah, also there's some funny scenes outside. I definitely recommend you to go check out this entry for yourself. And definitely check out the staff scenes. They're pretty funny. And yeah, that was the entry from Max Arceus. And yeah, that makes him the winner of Group L. Alright, that means we now know who moved on to the next round. So in Group I, that's Ducklink and Madazhulk. In Group J, it's Lowpoly and Vus. In Group K, it's Timmy Tuner in Error Predicting a Fault. And in Group L, it's Hobion and Max Arceus. Now, and for the final round, they will get another ride, a theme, and 3 modifiers. And while we're at it, let's go check out what the modifiers for the final round will be. Alright, here we have the first random draw. Look at this beautiful face in the background. Anyway, let's go see what ride the players will have to build. Alright, it looks like the players will have to build a single rail coaster. Now let's check out what the theme will be. Okay, here we have the wheel with the possible themes. Let's go check out which one it will be. Alright, looks like the players will have to build a single rail coaster in jungle theme. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're gonna draw 3 modifiers. Alright, we only have 6 modifiers left from the original list, so we will get half of them. Anyway, let's check out what the first one will be. Okay, it looks like it must rain in the map. Then let's check out the second modifier. Alright, looks like the right track must use 4 different color schemes. Well, that should be an easy one to implement. And the final modifier is... the players must build 2 of the chosen ride. Alright, so it looks like players must build 2 single rail coasters. Alright, those were the modifiers, the ride and the theme for the final round, and I wish all the contestants good luck. Alright, those were all the entries that were made for the second round of the Joker Cup. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, that would really help out my channel. I would love to hear in the comments which one of these entries was your favorite. And if you want to see more of these videos, you can always subscribe to my channel. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.